Hello everyone, I'm Teacher Charles, or you could also call me Charles Formosa and Charles Ross on Facebook. I'm talking to you today about the steeple. There's been a lot of people commenting on steeples, the origin of the steeple, why it is shaped the way that it is. We understand, of course, the ancient antiquitech on top of the steeple, which is designed to use mercury or radium to generate electricity using sunlight or photoelectric effects. This can be done with mercury, magnesium. Usually it's done with copper and a steel or copper orb. This is obviously on top of this building. But I want to go into more detail about what's underneath, the design of the steeple and where this originates from, and if it has anything to do with Christendom or any other faith. Because every one of these steeples have a very specific purpose. You can compare these to other ancient architectural geometry aspects of architectural geometry that can be found all over the world, such as, for example, a lighthouse, which also looks like an obelisk. You can see obelisks all over the world. From the Vatican, which again on top has, as you can see here, the same orb, electricity, etheric energy generating amalgam ball, radium or mercury. Then we see London has one, New York, Washington DC. All of these are Egyptian or original American, the promised land. These are obelisks that have a very specific purpose, which goes back all the way to ancient Egypt. And most children would have learned this at school. The question is, what's the relationship between the Egyptian or Kemetan obelisk from the Promised Land, the original Africa, the Old World, and the steeple of a modern Christian church? Important to also describe the original capstones that were sometimes taken from the top of pyramids and brought back to European museums by the Moors. And then also you have the ancient capstones where all of these are pointing to the heavens, and that is super important. And this is where we get a very important parallel between the steeples in Christian churches and the capstones on top of pyramids and obelisks. In one of the oldest cities on earth, called New York, which should actually be reversed and called Old Troy or Yord, the original capital city of Great Britain, where the general Brutus escaped after the fall of Troy, which is currently the location of New York City. And you will find an incredible cathedral here with 2 spires. This is St. Patrick's Cathedral, an ancient 11th century Roman Baroque style Gothic cathedral, something that cannot be replicated or wouldn't have been replicated in the last 500 years. The stonework, the masonry, the mud flooding all give us good reason to believe that this is a lot older than we are told. We need to look at the steeples of churches and we need to compare them to the identical geometry of the great monuments and obelisks of ancient Kemet. They show this influence of a phallus or a male reproductive organ that is being worshipped by our ancestors. It is not a coincidence that the steeple is identical in its geometry and architecture to an obelisk of ancient Egypt. The Canaanite tribes, ancient Israelites, they all worshipped and congregated around these monuments. These were the places where many rituals were performed. Some of these rituals are ancient and biblical. So the fertility rituals of the Canaanites, where they would bake long loaves of bread, the Israelites also did this. This is all very well documented in the Bible and biblical scriptures. Eventually, these old poles were then incorporated into the architecture of the churches. These buildings were not initially religious. They were trying to harness etheric energy. and they wanted to do it in such a way that would also enhance the power of the male reproductive organ or the fertility rituals. Nothing to do with Christianity or worshipping God, worshipping his son, the Savior, Jesus Christ. Not connected to that at all. They also have a specific geometry along ley lines. This is so fascinating. Follow Michelle Gibson for more information on energy lines and the energy grid. The sun is supposed to rise into the center or between both of these phallic symbols, thereby initiating this sexual occult practice where the sun is almost like impaling itself upon a phallic symbol. That was the purpose. The name of the sun god was Ra. These are the gods of ancient Egypt. We call it Re today, Sun Re, the ray of the sun. And I mean, this goes back to pre-dynastic times, before even any recorded history. This was the miraculous shaft or the member of the god. It has nothing to do with Christianity at all. This is about energy harvesting, fertility rituals, pagan through and through. The word obelisk is actually Greek. It goes back all the way to the Greek Moors, and it means a skewer, a meat skewer, which is crazy. I didn't even know it meant that. So that's worth looking into. In Egyptian fables and ancient mythology, there is another origin story to the phallus or the monument, the obelisk, and that is the murder of Osiris by his brother Set. So there you can see Set and Osiris. So you have the human and the cynocephali, or the half human, half dog, and one of the brothers, Set, murders his brother and cuts him into many pieces and throws all of the pieces, his anatomy, all over the world. This is the actual origin of the obelisk. Now, the numbers here are important. So 14 pieces, and out of those 14 pieces, only 13 are recovered, and one is missing. And what's missing is his reproductive organ, his phallus, the obelisk. Now, Isis, his wife, has the power to resurrect him. She has this high-frequency ability, and she does so, but she can't find all the pieces. This is legitimately the ancient Egyptian myth. Now, she only finds 13 pieces, 13 parts of his body. Now, the phallus, and I think one of the reasons why it's called a fallacy or phallus, is because this 14th piece is eaten by a fish as it was thrown into the Nile by Set, his brother who murdered Osiris. Now, she wants to conceive a son by him. She resurrects him, and she fashions a new reproductive organ, an obelisk, out of gold. She uses gold to create a reproductive organ so she can then have a son with her resurrected husband, Osiris. Every obelisk on earth, Egyptian, American, is a representation of that phallus, that male reproductive organ of the god Osiris. Every steeple on every church is exactly the same thing. It was fashioned after this mythology of ancient Kemet, of ancient America. It represents the life-giving power of Osiris, not God or Jesus. This story has repeated itself over and over again with Apollo, with Zagreus, with the Titans, It is a constant